So I'm walking down a cereal aisle in a supermarket. Which one, I can't be sure. Maybe it's a composite of everyone that's ever existed, or maybe just one I never personally went in. But then again, I never been molested in a supermarket, and this wasn't my memory. It was the clients I was walking next to. Theodore Grazio, professor at Hopkins, and apparently a child sexual abuse survivor. And this supermarket is where it first happened. And even though it was over 40 years ago, and a trauma like that sticks with us and becomes a part of us, more often far worse than better. And how we deal with it or don't deal with it makes all the difference in who we become. We pass a box of Mr. T cereal, something I hadn't seen produced in over 40 years. I grab a box and open it, eating the sweet contents. The taste is fresh and pity the full power pack as they did when I was 6 years old. And it was real to my mind, whether I was in my mind or not. And as I watched Professor Grazio walk faster in front of me, ignoring the sound of crunching on cereal coming from my jaws as he focused on the end of the aisle. And that's when we saw the little boy aimlessly walking past the aisle. The professor is now sweating, breathing heavy, and as we make it to the end of the aisle and are about to turn, the good professor totally disappears. I stand and look as the little 6-year-old kid who passed us a second ago, who's lost his mother and is about to ask the most wrong adult ever that he sees coming from a loading dock, about to lose his innocence, a piece of his soul, and gain a secret drug habit a few decades later to deal with the repression of it all. Yeah, the good professor isn't a professor here. He's now just lost and confused 6-year-old Teddy Grazio, looking for his mommy, all alone, except this time he's got me here. And as he walks to the opening deli doors to the outside, he sees a white smocked man emerge from, I guess he drops the bow and quickens my pace. Just as the man in the smock puts Teddy's little hand in his, I'm right there to pull the other hand out. And as I yank 6-year-old Teddy from his grasp, he's now 6 years old no more. He's back to the middle-aged man he was when we started this. And as much as I'd like to punish this piece of shit in a smack figment of someone else's mind and memory or not, I've learned it's better to climb and do it. We all build and drag our own crosses that continually crucify us. So it's got to be us that breaks them apart and takes the spikes out our minds and soul. So I just watch as one enraged Professor Theodore Grazio beats the living shit out of what appears to be the man who molested him all those decades ago. But it's really just a manifestation of the cancer within his own mind that's been eating him alive, whether he knew it or not, since he was 6 years old. But with Chrono-Elliptical Reccolection, a procedure my literal genius little buddy from around the way invented, we can now physically enter a person's memories and help them reinterpret past events and traumas, freeing them from a lifetime of psychological baggage, and get a nice little bag ourselves. Well, Percy does, but I get paid damn well to be the recollection tech to assist the patients in the physical realm of their own mind and memory. And as we leave the beaten and crumpled form of the would-be predator, Grazio stops at the box of cereal, picks it up and tastes it, says, "Damn, this is just as good as I remember." And that's us, Fate Incorporated. Memory is a funny thing. You could meet a guy at a bus stop, both of you going to work. Every Sunday you talk about the game, who won or lost, and although you guys have friendly conversation for small periods of time over a 3-month time span, I could ask you his name and it's over a 70% probability that it'd be that guy from the bus stop and not Eric, Michael, or Maurice, or whatever it was he introduced himself as when you first met. but you can remember with crystal clarity the fact that it had just stopped raining on your 7th birthday before you blew the candles out on a forest chocolate cake